Technology, guys, technology. Let me just try to reconnect with Mr. Elijah. I keep losing him, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. We're just about to wrap up our conversation. Very interesting stuff. Some nuggets there with Mr. Elijah. Those of you who missed the interview, please go back to my timeline and go through it. Like he's given us some nuggets right there. Some serious things to think about. Okay, let's see. Mr. Elijah, if you can see me, please come back, sir. Come back, sir. Uh, okay, I can't seem to be getting hold of Mr. Elijah. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, I think I lost him. I think I lost him. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm struggling to get hold of Mr. Masubelele. Mm. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, Satan Walikam.
Yeah, what later today? Yo.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We don't give up. Agree, the devil does not want us to speak about great things, Unyagaba to Nziba to the depression, Banziba to like relationship. So we keep pushing. Anyway, yeah. I can't even
Yeah.
remember where we were. I was saying something to you. Please remind me.
No, we're talking about changing with the times.
Yeah. Yeah. And hence I said to you that, we the way we do things, the way we raise our kids, I mean, the way we speak with our kids, it's no longer the same. I mean, I don't remember at any point in my life calling my mother by her name. And these days you hear children calling their parents, by her name. And also you need to understand that the dynamics are also, different because our parents were also under oppression at some point. Now, that there was no time to even speak, your mind and be given an opportunity to express yourself as a child, during those years. But now we can't even be shouting at our children when we want to talk to them. We need to engage them, because the environment has changed and has allowed us to be at our best, to be able to negotiate with our own kids. Now, parents who are still stuck there or couples who are still stuck in the old way of doing things are missing out because the things are not only changing on the outside, as I said, they are changing mainly on the inside. And for as long as we don't comprehend that change psychologically, we find ourselves in a state whereby we are modern people acting in primitive ways. you know, and that's working. Obviously you can hear that there's a paradox there, that this person wants to become a modern person, but his thinking is so archaic, you know. His thinking is so primitive. His thinking, it's in the 1950s, 1960s, and there's no time and space for that, you know. So we need to accept that we are left behind. We need to learn a lot, and we need to engage ourselves in this learning. We need to get to a point where we start attending relationship classes, because the relationships of the old and the relationships of today are no longer the same. You know, you go and speak to our grandmothers, and they will tell you how they managed relationships in the olden days as compared to how we do things these days. You know, so we really need a lot of education, especially psychological education, that needs to really help us to renew our mind and our mindset.
Right, right. So, like, just one final question. When people go into relationships or go into marriage, what should people know? What should they know?
All right. Now, I think if you go back to our previous talks or chats, you
Mm-hmm,
realize that the common denominator is yourself here.
mm-hmm,
You know, people usually say, accept me for who I am. And every time I ask them, who are you? They can't give me an answer. Now, you expect people to accept you for who you are, and yet you don't know who you are. That's number one. Number two, you gotta know that a relationship, just like any other thing, you know, you need to work on it. But the most important relationship that you need to work on is the relationship with yourself. That's the most
Wow.
important relationship you work on, because if you don't have that relationship with yourself, you are going to have problems having other relationship with other people. Now you
Mm-hmm,
find that people are suffering from trauma as a result of where they come from in their family of origin, but they haven't dealt with it. Then they take
mm-hmm,
the same trauma, they go and replant it in their future relationships, you know. So you need to go and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself questions. How did my upbringing impact me? How did my family of origin impact me? How did my past relationship impact me? You know, who have I become? And what are the things that I'm longing for? For example, you find that you get married to a woman who was raised without a father, and she gets into a
mm-hmm,
relationship with you, and she expects you to fulfill the needs that the father should have fulfilled and was not there to fulfill. And as a result, she has got these high expectations that you may never ever ever fulfill, because you're not her father. And she needs to deal with it. She needs to accept that this is how she grew up, and there's nothing much she can do about it. So she'll have to make peace with it and redefine herself in the absence of the father, and not go around fighting and crying for, I wish he was there. I wish he was not there. Let's accept that.
mm-hmm.
And I should not be paying for his sins just because now I'm with you and I'm the male figure in your life. So hence I'm saying to you that if you're gonna go into a relationship focusing on what you should get and not focusing on what you should or who you should become, you're going to miss
Mm-hmm.
out, because you're going to become a nuisance while chasing stuff that you want to have, as opposed to you becoming that they must have in a relationship.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. I, this subject, yeah, relationship and marriage, it's so big and it's so broad. Are you open to having a part two of this? I also want to bring a woman into this conversation so
Yeah.
that we can have also a perspective from a woman's side, how they also look at things and so on. So are you open to that?
I'm not open to having part two, but I'm always ready to have conversations that speaks about relationship and human dynamics. Because why? Somebody's going to listen to this clip today, and their life will be changed. So I think it's our duty. That in the absence of somebody doing it, we must do it. We must be the ones that when Elon Musk come with new inventions, we should be coming with new inventions of relationships. We should be coming with new inventions of our mindset. So we should not wait for him to to be creating products that our mindset are not ready to comprehend or to use. And that's why you've got a lot of people who've got big houses, German cars, big cars, and they cannot enjoy those cars because their relationship mindset is not ready to live a life like that. So they've got the life, but psychologically they're not ready to live it. There's bowel going on holidays, but psychologically they can't go on holidays because they go there, they start fighting. So there's no point to have all that if in here it is toxic and damaged. There's a lot of garbage in here that needs to be released and removed forever, so that when this lifestyle comes, you are able to comprehend it and be able to fit in within the lifestyle.
Ah, that's nice. That's nice. Mr. Masubelele, ke a leboha ntate. Like, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you honoring the invitation to be here. And I'm looking forward to definitely having you here again because there's so much that, I want to know. And I'm sure that people that are also watching and that are going to listen to this conversation that we're having, they are also going to learn a lot, and then they'll have even more questions to ask. So I want to really have another conversation with you. And as I said, I want to also invite a female as well to become part of this conversation so that we can elaborate it more and then have a more understanding of this whole, relationship and marriage thing. So, Leboha, thank you so much for your time, Sen, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. All right.
Thank you, Master. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. You too, sir. Thank you. All right, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. And I really apologize. We've had really some bad connection between myself and Mr. Elijah, but we try to make do. We try to make do. So those of you who have missed this conversation, you can go back and watch my previous recordings with Mr. Elijah as we were, kept uh, cutting off and everything. So I'll see you guys next week, Sunday. And I also want to mention a very, very special lady, Caroline Serokani. Caroline Serokani is the woman that does posters for these weekly conversations that I have. So I just want to acknowledge her and appreciate her for the wonderful work that she's doing. So if any one of you are looking to maybe you want a poster or a logo. She's also a makeup artist. So whatever your preference may be, connect with her and she does a good job. She does a good job. I trust her. So I just wanted to acknowledge her as well. All right, guys. So I'll see you next week, Sunday, same time, same place. Cheers.